Good morning. As we begin our season of Lent this Wednesday, I wanted to share a little bit about what Lent means for us. Lent is an act of preparation for Easter where we practice repentance and fasting. The practice of Lent grew out of the early church's catechism, or training of new converts. In the early church, this training lasted for 2 years, ensuring that those who were initiated through baptism were prepared for the difficult call to carry their cross and follow Christ. And as the church became larger, especially as Christianity became the dominant religion, it became increasingly difficult to require new converts to participate in this 2-year process. And so baptism candidates were instead required to participate in a season of repentance and fasting in the 40 days leading up to their baptism, a practice that mirrored the stories of the wilderness experiences for figures like Jesus, Elijah, and Moses. And the rest of the Christian church was invited to participate in this season every year as a means of remembering the lifestyle that baptism calls us to. Historically, Lent has been about repentance and the reprioritizing of our lives to the demand of the gospel to pick up our cross and follow Christ as he sets his face towards Jerusalem. And in every example of wilderness and fasting connected with Lent, there's a moment where God prepares and strengthens each person for their wilderness experience. In Mark, we see those examples in the baptism of Jesus, where the Spirit descends on him like a dove, declaring Christ as God's Son before sending him out into the wilderness to be tempted. The second is the transfiguration scene in Mark 9, where Christ, having declared his intention to suffer and die, sets his face towards Jerusalem. And on the mountaintop, God once again announces the sonship of Jesus and confirms his journey towards the cross. And as we engage in the practice of Lent, it is important that we do so from a place where we recognize ourselves as the beloved children of God. This recognition of belovedness allows us to engage in repentance and fasting without fear or guilt or shame. But instead, we engage in this journey towards the cross out of a desire to be in a right relationship with God and with one another. This means that our fasting and prayer and repentance should draw us closer. We should give up things that distance ourselves from God, that distract us from this call to pick up our cross and follow him. But in this time of Lent, we should also consider taking up something that is life-giving, that is reorienting, that allows us to faithfully pursue the call to follow Christ. Our Lenten journey should empower us to live into the call to take up our cross and follow Christ as beloved children of God. I pray for blessing and peace, for great times of repentance and prayer as we enter into the season of Lent this week. Blessings to you.